And the second thing that I noticed that he lied to me about was I never proved it, but you know, a lot of the videos that I've watched talk about how the narcissist loves to be pitied and make everybody feel like, you know, he needs to be taken care of and all of that. And I think I mentioned in an earlier video that he was on disability what he told me was that it was an accident at work, that he fell and hurt his back and his ankle, and they found that he had degenerative disc disease, which runs in his family, supposedly, and that it was going to be impossible for him to work again. He actually told me that the doctor who signed off on his disability was arguing with him about whether or not he should be on it. And he told me that he bribed the doctor and told him he would pay him $10,000 to keep him off disability. And the doctor said he couldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. I don't know how disability works, but I think that if, I feel like that would kind of be one of your, it would sort of mess with one of your freedoms, which is, you know, your freedom to work. So I would think that, you know, whether or not you're eligible for disability, I think, you know, if he wanted to work, even if the doctor said, I don't recommend it, I'm sure he could do it anyway. But he maintained that he wasn't allowed to. And that he was in pain all the time. That was a 100% of the time thing that went on in our relationship. He was always in pain. He was always hurting or had some kind of issue with the pain. Hence the prescription drugs that he was on. He was on different pain medication. He was on, I think I mentioned before, Xanax for his anxiety. He was on Adderall to wake him up from that Xanax and pain pills, and also to help him lose weight, and also for ADD. He was on a pill to make him go to sleep. He was on a pill to a muscle relaxer, because his thing was that when he would go to the pain clinic, they would give him the pain pills and the muscle relaxer, because when the spinal the vertebrae were sitting, it was like the bones were sitting on top of each other, because he had no the spongy material in between the discs. Sorry. And so that would sort of give him pain, and the muscles around it would sort of constrict around it to sort of, I guess, compensate. And so the muscles were bunched up. So he had to have a muscle relaxer. And he also had, he would get injections in his back. He would get cortisone injections in the muscles in his back. And I think before we broke up, he had mentioned that they were talking about giving him an epidural, which I don't know how that works. I think when you have a baby, it stays in until they take it out, and then you no longer, I think once the epidural gets out of you, you know, your feeling comes back. So I don't know exactly how they would do that for someone who goes to a pain clinic and then comes home. I don't know how that would work. But like I said, I have no idea if he's going to do that or not. The day that I told him to stop contacting me was his day to go to the pain doctor. So I never heard what happened down there. And that was the thing, was that, I feel like, if they say that narcissists like pity, they like, having the attention on them, the focus on them, this situation is ideal for him, because I was always caring of how he felt and all of that. I, would, sort of look after him, and if he was doing something that was too strenuous, I'd be like, you don't need to be doing that, I don't want you to hurt yourself. And I look back now and I think that whole thing could have been a lie. And if it's not, I feel awful for thinking that, but I honestly feel like even if he was disabled and he was going through the pain that he said that he was, I think it was an ideal situation for him, because I feel like everyone always focused on him. Everyone was always asking, how are you, how are you coping with all of this? It was an automatic attention getter, and something that goes on with him for the rest of his life. Because he told me the prognosis was bad, that his discs would always be bad. I looked into alternative remedies for him. Vitamin C is one of them, and mega doses vitamin C can be very beneficial to pain and disc regeneration. And he was taking that the last couple months of our relationship. Was taking powdered vitamin C, and supposedly he was taking it. I don't think that he was, because I think if he was, and he was getting as good of a result as people that I'd heard of had with it, he wouldn't have been in pain and wouldn't have had to take his pain medication. But unfortunately, I feel that the pain medication was a bit of a problem as well. That was a big problem in our relationship, was seeing him dosed out, as he would call it, lethargic from the medicine. So, I don't know. One more thing I'll go through. I've got quite a list of the things he's lied about, but I won't put all of them on one video. I've found out over the course of the last year that what he initially told me, which was that he divorced his wife. Well, they became separated because she was not faithful. I never got to the bottom of it, if she was or not. It wasn't any of my business, but, he told me that that she cheated with a coworker, and then later on he found out there were more people, even possibly a family member of his, and that's why he left her, that he was never unfaithful to her. However, it did come out later that even while they were separated, not even separated, but kind of trying to work things out, what he calls separated could have meant, that he was fed up with it, whatever. I think all narcissists who cheat wouldn't constitute it as cheating, because they're so detached from reality that, whatever you do to them, they're a victim of. But they can, cheat or sleep around when they're married and not even consider it cheating in their mind. So, when he had told me he had been faithful, it was not true, because when I spoke to his ex-wife, she said that when they were trying to work things out, he was moving in and talking with his ex-girlfriend, the one that he left for me. And he messed with her head for about a year. But actually, he told me that the whole time that this was happening with the girl before me, he had been separated. I later found out from her that he had a relationship with her around the time his daughter was born. And apparently, according to him, around the time his daughter was born was a very happy time for them, he and his ex-wife, that they were, in love and having a child together, and that the problems didn't even start until she was 3 years old. So if he was with this girl around the time that his daughter was born, then obviously they had problems earlier on than he let on. And I talked to his ex-wife, and she said that she didn't cheat on him. Now, I'm not exactly, I take her word for it, but I don't, it's not, like I said, it's none of my business, but he did lie about that, and I think that's one of the things that he uses to get pity, because that was one of the things that he started with me years ago, not even, when he was trying to, a year ago before we started dating, but this was, a couple of years back that he started telling me, on Facebook, just, we would rarely talk, but one, he had messaged me one time and said, I'm about to go through divorce and all of that. She cheated on me. So, that's one of the lies that he told me. And, I don't know, it's really disheartening, because I feel like he's probably the last year, he's seen other people. I know he's talked to other girls, other women, inappropriately, but I never had proof that he was seeing anyone else. But I really have come to a point in this process where I don't need proof. I know in my heart of hearts that there were wrongdoings on his part that he would never admit to. And I'm glad I don't know the specifics, because it probably would tear me up even more. Just the fact that this was going on under my nose, and I was so naive about it. But, I know there's just no way that he can go without attention. And I brought that up to him a few times. I said, I think you like the attention of women. I think when, because he asked me, he's like, why is it such a hard thing for you to understand that I have friends who are girls? And I said, it's not that big of a deal if you have friends who are girls. It's the way that you talk with them and all of that. And I think you like having the attention. And I think when one pays you attention, you automatically jump all over that. And he looked at me and said, do you think it's that hard for me to get a girl? And the cockiness of it took me, by complete surprise. I thought, that's just, that how arrogant of you. And my second thought was, why would you say that to your girlfriend? Why wouldn't you say, I don't care who pays me attention, I just want your attention? That's what a normal guy would say, I would think. But instead he said just that. He said, do you think it actually is a problem for me to get a woman? And as surprised as I was, I retorted back pretty quickly, I think it's not a problem for you to get one. I think the problem is keeping one for you. And he said no. And then he thought about it, and he said, actually, yeah. He said, it is hard for me to keep one because they keep doing me wrong. And I thought, and I was telling someone this earlier, I thought, if you're going through relationship after relationship after relationship I would think the automatic response for a normal person would be to say, is it me? What do I need to do to change myself to keep, or am I just looking for the wrong women or what? But I think in narcissist minds, it's always, there's something wrong with everybody else because they won't stay with me or whatever. It's always someone else. It's always the blame is somewhere else. So, I'm doing much better. It's actually day 17. No contact, and I'm feeling much better. I'm feeling more and more clear every day. I know I've said that, but when you go no contact, the first couple of days are hard. you're still kind of in shock. You're still going through that grieving period of the, the denial, the anger, the hurt. But eventually you get the acceptance, and I think you get it more and more every day. And yes, there are periods of time where I think about him, or I hear a song that makes me think about him, or I think of a conversation that we had recently, and, I think, was that him that I was talking to? And I think how funny it is that it felt like it was just yesterday that we had that conversation when it's been, almost 3 weeks. But I think that you just learn to live with it. I think that you learn to live with that, that not having closure. I think you learn to live with, kind of just picking up the pieces, cleaning up, the wake that he left. And it'll get easier every day. Just surround yourself with people who love you. Pray. I pray for strength all the time, because I know that I couldn't have done this alone. I know that, God had to have helped me through this, because it was so hard, and I tried so many times to leave him, and I always would falter and end up, going back to him. But this time it was different. This time, this was it. And I think when you're really ready to leave, and you know that you need to leave, when you're ready, it'll happen. And you just have to, thank God for that. Thank God that he gets you through it. And, there are times when I want to check my old Facebook and see what he's doing, but I think to myself, it's only going to hurt me. It's not going to hurt him if I see what he's doing. It's going to hurt me. He's blissfully ignorant and with someone else. So if I look on his, if I get on my old Facebook and look at his, and I see a picture of them or something that they've done together, it's only going to bother me. It's only going to eat at me. So I've stopped looking. As of now, I might have a breakdown, but I honestly think each day it gets easier and easier not to. It gets easier and easier to just look for something better to do. Look for something that makes me happy. And I keep all my loved ones around me at all times. Keeps my mind busy. It keeps me in a pattern of moving forward. And so that's pretty much what I've done so far to keep myself occupied and not thinking about him. And I will be making some more videos on the lies. There were a couple more. I'm looking at this list here, and I just can't, I can't even believe some of the things on here I fell for. But you do stupid things when you meet this guy that you think is wonderful. You'll believe some crazy stuff. So anyway, I hope you have a great night, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.